Okay then, Mike. So post Widnes, you've had a few days with the guys. What's the mood like in the camp, and how are we feeling ahead of what is another big game coming up this Sunday?
Yeah, good. Yeah, we were pretty low after the game on Monday, and then we got back on the horse on Tuesday. So we spoke about the disappointment and how that's going to motivate us going into this game, because we're doing some really good stuff. I'm just really proud of the lads. We're so disappointed. Again, like very similar to York, we controlled the game for large periods. We dominated the game for large periods. We're ahead for large periods of the game, and we just couldn't quite get the job done. But seeing improvement, seeing things that we're working on in training come to fruition in the game is really pleasing. And same again. We just looked at a couple of things that we can improve on, and that excites us. That if we get them right, then we feel we can just keep moving forward and hopefully just start nudging over the line a little bit more.
Mike, I've noticed a real mentality change in and around the squad in the last month or so. And I know that's something you're really keen to instill into the guys. And, there really was a mood after that game on Sunday where there was real disappointment, but not necessarily just because they lost the game, but because the guys genuinely believe that they can and should win each game. So, that's something you've been really working on, isn't it? That there's a belief in this group of players that they can win every game. And when they don't, that's why they're disappointed.
Yeah. It's the hope that kills you, eh?
Yes.
and that's what we've got. We hope to win every game. But the lads, I am really proud of them. They're working so hard. They're really buying into what we're trying to do. And it's just going to take a bit of time, because when you're low on confidence, and losing's a habit, winning's a habit, and we've got the losing habit and we are low on confidence, but that's turning, because yes, we're not quite getting the results, but we're getting some really good performances, and not just for small patches of games, for large areas of games where we are the better team. And if we can just bolt that belief on as well now, and a few smarts around the game here and there in terms of our game management, I'm really confident that we can start stringing some results together.
Yeah, and on you as well, Mike. You are still the interim head coach. We're kind of settling into the role now. It's been a good few weeks. How are you feeling in your position? I know that your focus will always be on the players and steadying the ship and keeping the mood and improving results. But for yourself, how are you enjoying your current role within the club?
It's demanding. It's just constant. I'm really lucky. I've got the support at home and the support of the staff that are there, because it's new to me. I've been around the club a long time and been around a lot of very good coaches, which has really helped me. And a lot of them coaches are on the other end of the phone for me as well to bounce off. So I suppose just getting into a routine. We're all creatures of habit, and it's a new routine for me. Whilst I'm always there to support the players, I'm normally there to support all the players and all the other staff, to allow the head coach to just coach normally, and I would take away from him as much as I could. Where now it's the other way around. All the staff are trying to take away as many things from me as possible to just allow me to focus on the players, and I've really felt that support from the staff and the players. They've been so good at buying in. So I suppose I am settling into the new routine, watching a hell of a lot of rugby. It's just constant, and it's something I do remember a lot of the coaches speaking to me about. Just the constant nature of having to watch opposition and getting ahead of that, of who you're playing, not this week but the next week as well, without taking your eye off the ball. So I'm good, and as long as I can see improvement in the team, I'm happy.
Before Widnes, I spoke to you, and you said in the week prior to that game that you'd really been pushing and testing the players. What has the focus, or what will the focus be this week? Would it maybe just ease things off a little bit, or is it more of the same?
We'll always try to challenge the players, and I think that's been one of the big needle movers for us. Is we're just making things more competitive in training. The players need to compete against each other more in a teammate fashion to get the best out of each other and keep challenging each other. So that's remained constant, really. We just, with the week off previously, we were a bit fresher going into last week, so we got a little bit more work done in terms of intensity, but we'll still keep challenging the players and working hard. The Tuesday night session's a little bit lighter naturally because, we played just 48 hours prior and the boys are always beat up. So we'll tune it up a bit tonight on the Thursday session, and then, we'll hone in a little bit on the Saturday session. Just very much the same, to be fair, Jake. With constant challenge, constant demand for improvement on the areas that we're poor at, and recognition of the things that we've done well.
At the start of the season, Mike, I think it's probably fair to say some of the poor results, or the not so good ones, we could put down to the fact that there was a lot of change in the summer, wasn't there? Just from going full-time to part-time, a lot of personnel change, and also a really large number of injuries as well. But what has become apparent to me is in recent weeks, the squad feels a lot more settled now. There was very few changes for that Widnes side from the one that beat Dewsbury. That must be really important for you to be working with this same group of players week in, week out. And I'm looking at the players at the moment, Mike, who aren't even making the squad in the match day. It's really starting to look really strong. You've got a lot of options there now, haven't you?
Yeah, massive rap to Charlie and the medical staff, John and Alicia. We had 29 players, 29 first-team players play at the weekend. We had the 17 of the first team. We had 9 at reserves, and we had 3 at scholars. So for London Rugby League, that's great. We're in a much stronger position. So massive rap to the medical team, for getting the players available. And I said that from the very start, didn't I? That we need competition for places. We need that from within. So we promoted players from the academy. We've brought a couple of players in that we've highlighted. Could be good recruits for us. And we've got a couple of players back healthy as well. So it's all just married in nicely, really, from that aspect. There's some of those players still need a lot of time. We have to be patient. We've got Wellington, who's come off a hell of an injury. Again, going back to the medical team, they've done well just to get him on the field. Reece Curran's been out for a while. These players are only going to get better and stronger. That was a learning curve for me as well. I've never had to tell 9 players before. Well, it was 12 players before that they're not in the first team. So that was another experience for me. But again, I just always feeling the support from the players, and whether they like it or not, they seem to understand my rationale for the team I'm picking. And again, just on experience, the most successful teams I've been involved in have had continuity and consistency. So injury dependent, as long as we've not got too many injuries, I will try and stabilise with as many combinations as I can.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now, Mike, before we go on and talk about the fact we're in Ebbsfleet this weekend, let's talk about the opponents, Sheffield. What kind of threat do you expect from them this weekend?
Very similar to Widnes. Very, very similar. They've got some outstanding halves and really good fullbacks. They've got QLT, who's been a bit of a foe of ours over the years for Sheffield and for Toronto. And then Corey Aston, who we know well. They've got Tom Holmes, who they've just brought in from Featherstone. And then they've got Anthony Thackeray, who's been one of the best halfbacks in the competition for over a decade. So they've 4 or 5 outstanding pivots. So we're still not sure exactly what team they'll select. Just looking at the last few weeks, the last few games, that's changed a little bit. So very similar to Widnes, actually, in that is where the main strength lies. They've got some really good outside backs and some good players in the middle of the field too, but that's their kind of key strength. So, reasonably expansive because they'll try to utilise their spine and their pivots. So, I'd expect a very similar threat to Widnes in that aspect.
Right, and let's talk about where we are playing this weekend. Now, this does happen, every season. We take ourselves off to a different part of London or the surrounding areas to try and expand the game of rugby league down here in the south of England. It is something that it needs to happen, doesn't it, for teams like the London Broncos to continually not just promote the club, but also the support?
Yeah, 100%. It is important because, I talk about London Broncos, we talk about our LDS rugby league down south, not just London. We cater for the entire south of England. Like with Ewan Park, who played He made the first team squad a couple of weeks ago at York. You know, he travels from Ipswich 3-4 times a week. It's just incredible. You know, you go down the academy and speak to some of these kids, and you get to know a little bit more about them and where they're from. And we've got a lot of boys from London, but we've got so many players from the surrounding areas as well. I mean, I live in a surrounding area in Hertfordshire myself, and where Dan Hoyes and Max Allen, where all them boys kind of reside from. So it's really important that we've got strong clubs in those regions as well. So the region you're talking about, particularly with Ken, with Invictus Panthers, and I was part of the team that went over to Gillingham as well, which obviously linked to the Medway Dragons. And yeah, we rely on those clubs heavily to provide us with players for the academy and the first team pathway. So it's really important that we have a presence there. So yeah, really excited about that. It's great for them again. I think it's been 10 years since we've been over that way.
Just short of 10 years, yeah.
Just short of 10 years, yeah. So that's terrific that we can fly the London Rugby League banner over that way.
Yeah, and it's something, you know, Mike, we have to mention you are passionate about, because, you know, your accent won't escape anybody. You are from the Northwest, but you've been here now at London Broncos for nearly a decade. You know, not many people have done that. So you've really seen this from almost start to obviously not end, but, you know, you've seen this process, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. And, you know, it massively becomes part of you. The fight for rugby league down south, once you get on it, it's addictive. You know, you want to prove people wrong. You want to fly this banner proudly within rugby league. And, you know, I've had some unbelievable times at the club. And it's that keeps driving me really to try and, I mean, success can be measured in many ways, but to get this club back being successful. And one of the things we do really well is our junior pathway. And you know, I'm super proud of that, super proud of the players we've produced. And it's one thing I want to do now, if I can have any impact on the club, is not only promote these juniors, Jake, but from regions like Kent, but retain these players. And it's so important to me. And yeah, I am a Lather in, well, Hertfordshire really, actually, and work in London. But you know, I'm very much a Bronco, and just want to see the club do well.
Yeah, and to pick out then a couple of the lads, let's talk about Ollie and Bill Leyland. You know, the two academy products. We talk about heading back to Kent, to Maidstone this weekend. These are two boys that are born and bred in that area. They've done a huge amount of work this week with some of the young players and young clubs in that community to try and get as many of them down to the game at the weekend. I mean, is there two better kind of role models at the moment, you know, in the London area to play for London Broncos than those two?
No, well, that's an awesome story, isn't it, as well? Because the mum coaches the team as well. So it's a great story. And, you know, I've known Ollie in particular a long time. I still remember him walking in the gym at Ealing for the first time. Yeah. And he tells me he was frightened to death at the time of the gym sessions we were putting on. And we put a bit of fear factor into them about, you know, good standards and behaviour, which is part of our programme. And yeah, I just love it. It's so rewarding, you know, seeing those guys come through. It really is. And them two being brothers as well adds to it. You know, Ollie's slightly ahead of Bill in age and in his current pathway, but hopefully Bill will you know, not far behind him. So yeah, no, it's great, you know, and they've been awesome this week for the club. I've seen a lot of that, and you guys, you know, commercially and community-wise have been great with the engagement, and those two just understand it better than anybody, because that was their pathway. And if they can ignite some of those kids, some of those schools into getting into rugby league, then that's awesome.
And just lastly, Mike, obviously hoping for many, you know, young people from the area and the community to come along on Sunday for this game. But the big question is, we're going to be changing the music a little bit on Sunday for the players to run out to. We always like to change things up a little bit. And we're going to be wearing the black kit, aren't we, on Sunday? So I know there's been discussions among the squad and the management team about a song to come out to. Now, we've put this poll out onto social media for the fans to vote. We've picked two. We narrowed it down to two: AC/DC, Back in Black, and also Black Betty. Now, the question is to you, have you got a preference? Which one would you like to see the lads run out to?
Well, I'm Black Betty all over, so I wanted a bit more of a Hellraiser for the lads to kind of almost sprint out to. But yeah, I love Back in Black as well. When Steve Devonshire, when he was at the club, he's a fan of the club as well, and he worked on the social media and very much on the rebranding when we went back to black back in, I think it was the start 2015, I think it was. And the fans will remember at the Hive all that year, we ran out to back in black. So just purely on that, because we've already done it, I'm going to go Black Betty. But both good tunes, like it.
Well, we look forward to finding out which one is played on Sunday, and of course as well there will be a lucky prize winner as well, where we're going to pick out somebody who's won, who's voted for that one to come and join us in the Gold Lounge and to get one of these lucky black shirts as well. But Mike, absolute pleasure speaking to you, and I look forward to seeing you Sunday.
Awesome, thanks, Jay.